Lawmakers are holding a public hearing right now for a bill that would change the way Maine votes in the presidential election. The legislation, known as the National Popular Vote Bill, has already been passed in 17 states, including Massachusetts and Vermont. And right now, Maine casts all 4 of its electoral votes based on who wins in each of Maine's 2 congressional districts. The winner of each district receives 1 vote, and whoever gets the statewide majority of the vote receives 2 votes. If the bill is enacted, all 4 electors would instead cast their votes for whoever wins the majority of the vote nationally. Now, even if it passes, it won't be a factor during this 2024 election. The law will only go into effect if it's enacted by states possessing at least 270 electoral votes, enough to elect the president. Right now, the effort is 65 electors short. Critics say it would defeat the purpose of the Electoral College, but supporters claim it would give voters more power.